So, okay, fingers crossed. If anybody's here, if you can let me know if you can see and hear me. Frustrating. It's been a really long time since I've had technical issues like that. So if someone can let me know if you can see and hear me, I'm doing a little adjustment here to something else. Hold, please. Okay, good. And behind the scenes, I'm setting a goal, which I had set up before, but oh well, technology happens. All right. Oh, good. Thank you. All right. Sorry for the interruption, and thanks for y'all who came back. So, and it took a long time to reboot and to reset the video. Anyway, we'll just start over as if nothing happened. Hunger and keto. Keto and hunger. First, how did I learn the ketogenic protocol? This is what it is. Keep your carbs 20 grams or fewer a day. Total carbs, not net carbs, because why? Net carbs just means more carbs. If it's not on page 4, link below, don't eat it, but you don't need a food list. Fatty sources of protein, meaning meat that comes with the fat, eggs that come with the yolk, poultry that comes with the skin. A handful of non-starchy vegetables, limited amounts, and full-fat dairy, limited amounts. Don't eat if you're not hungry. Oh, challenging. Stop eating when you've had enough. Also challenging. And be patient and persevere. So that's it. So I'm going to I might jump in and look, yay, look at what you guys have to say about it before I talk too much more. But, people I think are really concerned about being hungry. They have sugar burner flashback, remembering, oh my gosh, what if if I'm only eating, it's, by the way, the protocol does not say how much to eat other than the limited amounts of non-starchy vegetables and full-fat dairy. It also doesn't say eat until you pass out. Don't get a 96-ounce ribeye and eat the whole thing, a la John Candy in The Great Outdoors. But don't eat if you're not hungry. What the heck does that mean? I'm hungry all the time. I'm not talking for right now. When we are sugar burners, we do feel like we're hungry all the time. Even if we just totally finished off a giant Thanksgiving feast and we think we're going to be sick, 45 minutes later, we want to eat something else. Here's the deal. And if you really want a good breakdown and explanation of this, I highly recommend The Art and Science of Low Carbohydrate Living by Drs. Stephen Finney and Jeff Volek. You can go to my blog, link below, and look under resources, and it's the first book I list. It really explained to me after I lost about 20 pounds, and this is great. Why is this working? The difference between being a sugar burner, glucose, and being a fat burner, ketones. And how our body, when we are burning glucose, and how does that happen? We eat carbs. The brain calls for glucose because glucose can't be stored in the blood. The brain is an energy hog. So if the brain is kind of burning mostly glucose, it's going to ask for more glucose on a regular basis, like every 2.5 hours, which is why you can eat your low-fat, heart-healthy so-called breakfast of Special K, a rice cake, skim milk, half a grapefruit, and black coffee, and you still have the food in your stomach. And then you're at the office 2 hours later, and you say, oh, does anybody have a donut or anything? Because I'm really hungry. It's your brain saying, get me some glucose. So many of us who have spent decades with this sensation, thinking that that's hunger, no, that is a call for glucose, are afraid of that feeling. Some people have been known to be hangry, which is you're hungry and it kind of puts you in a bad mood. So you're angry. So you're hangry. And we don't want that. Here's the thing though. When you lay off the carb to the point where your liver is not pumping out glucose like a fire hose, the body happily turns to burning ketones or fat for fuel. And all of us have body fat on us. If you're hearing my voice, you have body fat on you. You just do. Even trim people have body fat. turns to burning body fat for fuel. The brain loves to burn ketones for fuel. And because we have a ready supply, we don't need to keep eating. So what happens? Hunger is naturally suppressed. That is weird. And a lot of people don't believe it and they don't recognize it. And we get in the habit of eating out of habit. By the way, you don't have to buy one thing to be 100% successful at this protocol. Oh, but I didn't have a chance to do it. I'll reattach to my spread shop below, sticker. Are you here out of habit or out of hunger? Because I did that. Even as I was losing weight, I realized I'm just eating because it's 10 o'clock. And I always eat something at 10 o'clock in the morning. Hunger pangs, the growling of the tummy, that's not hunger. That's a circadian rhythm. It's kind of reminding you that you usually eat right about now. It goes away after about 5 minutes, which is an indication that that's not true hunger. So hunger on keto is different. It just is. And one of the wonderful things, and I bet you some of you here can raise your hand, if you have had the unusual experience of realizing that you forgot to eat, you didn't think about it, you worked right through lunch, and you didn't have any breakfast, and it's 3 p.m., and you're still fine. That's like, what? I forgot to eat. That's impossible. Because if you're like me, I spent a lot of years thinking about food a lot. A lot. I would be crying while I would be eating. I was morbidly obese. You can see photos from before at my blog, link below. I'd be eating food that I knew I shouldn't be eating. I shouldn't be eating, period. And I'd be crying while I was eating it. Crying. Why am I doing this? And then as soon as I was finished with that giant bowl of Cheerios with sugar and skim milk, I would go get another giant bowl. Still crying. We need to trust the process. One of the first signs that you're in ketosis is your appetite and your hunger are suppressed. It is kind of like magic. It's a wonderful thing. And as we lose weight and grow older, if we're blessed enough to grow older, we will require less fuel. And that's another thing we have to get used to, but that's a story for another day. But we need to have faith and not have sugar burner flashback. Oh my God, I'm going on a 2-hour car drive. What am I going to do? 2 hours? What if I can't? What if there are no places to stop and get something to eat in 2 hours? Well, that's okay. You're not going to die. It's okay. And you might find out, okay, that was a 2-hour ride. I'm not hungry. Let's keep going. Right? If you watch episodes of My 600-Pound Life, many of the people, while they're on to see the way to see Dr. Now, they get in the car and it's been 25 minutes. Can we stop and get something to eat? And then they stop. One thing I saw was a 4-hour car ride. They stopped 7 times to eat. Don't need that. But those are unique situations. But it's a big difference between burning sugar for fuel, glucose, and burning fat for fuel, ketones. You can eat less. You have less waste. You spend less money. We have to learn what actual hunger feels like. It seems like it would be so fundamental. We should not have to learn it. Newborns know when they're hungry, and they know how to let us know. And they also know how to let us know when they've had enough. We unlearn all of that. It's an instinct, and we lose it. So around Go Keto with Casey, we say push the peckishness. Peckishness just means, I could eat. It's okay. I don't have to. I'm peckish right now. I have a private support group on Patreon, and every weekday morning, I do video snippets, morning snippets on a variety of topics, and I give an update on how many eggs we got the day before, and what the scale differential is, and what exercise group, what muscle group is on the total gym for that day for me, and my level of peckishness, and it varies day to day. So, push the peckishness. It's not an emergency. You don't have to, if you feel a little peckish, it doesn't mean stop what you're doing and eat right now. An excellent analogy is One of my patrons suggested it's like peckishness is like when if you drive a car and your energy light, your fuel light comes on. Ding. That doesn't mean screech to a halt, pull over to the side of the road and call AAA to get a gallon of gas. It means in the next 50, 60, 70 miles, whatever it is on your car, you're going to need to get some fuel. I'm just giving you a reminder. That's kind of what peckishness is. You don't have to screech to a halt, pull off the side of the road, and order DoorDash to your car. It'll be okay. So, and that's something we all have to learn. What does actual hunger feel like? And don't be afraid if you're not hungry. As long as there's no underlying medical condition, don't worry about it. Just follow, listen to your body. All right. Now, I have talked enough, and I appreciate you guys for hanging in and coming back, if that's indeed what you did. So let's look at what you don't have to buy anything. I will happily sell you a t-shirt. This one is, it's keto spelled out in American Sign Language, Keto. Subtle. There's stickers and mugs, and food is not the boss of me, and life is ketolicious, and all kinds of things. It's just fun merchandise that, Oh, and I set up a goal. Thank you last week. I had this goal. It should be at the top. And a couple of you tried to go to the goal. It's like super chat. It sounds tacky, but it's, I set a goal. 5 $2 super chats. And for that, I will do a behind the scenes video, maybe with the chickens. But I'm new to this goal thing, and I was informed, wow, the timer already ran out. So hopefully I set that up better. All right, I'm going to jump into the comments. Oh, private group on Patreon. You can do a 7-day free trial. If you like it, you stay. If you don't, you won't. And depending on your pledge level, starting at $5 a month, get weekday video snippets from me. Going up from there, patron-only live streams on Crowdcast, a few a month, and then going up from there, a one-on-one hour chat with me a month. Okay, let's go in. Oh, Jell's mommy, yay! Will O'Reilly, yes. Tiffany Sarge, seeing here you, Deborah Williams, I can see her. Yay, yay, yay! This is excellent. Here we go. Layla 903, good morning from Arizona. Jell's mommy, you ain't done yet. Oh, Charlene Johnson, Susie, I like feeling hungry. As soon as I feel hungry, I have a glass of water. That takes the edge off. Hunger does not have to be an unpleasant experience. I prefer, like Susie, I prefer the feeling of kind of lightness. I spent so many years feeling literally weighted down. I was weighted down by my actual weight. I was also emotionally weighted down. It's, people say, well, I use food for comfort. Food was torture for me. And yet I ate it. Barbara, smiley face. Judy Tucker, morning. Casey from Hopkinton, Iowa. How you doing, friend? Terry Hubbard, woohoo! Good morning, all. And Jackie Savoy says, so what is true hunger? This is the question, and we have to find it for ourselves. Okay, so I have a less elegant analogy than our patron, Michelle, who did the fuel tank thing, which is, mine is, say you're at an airport or at a theme park, and there are banks of bathrooms every 150 feet. And you're walking along, and, one in your group says, hey, do you need to stop to go to ladies? No, I'm good. And then you go another, past 3. No, I'm good. And then after a while, you say, yeah, I'm going to go to ladies. You might have passed by 6 of these banks of restrooms over the course of 2 hours. And now it's time to go. The thing is, if you stopped at every one of those bathrooms when someone said you need to go, you probably could have gone a little bit, right? Probably. So it's more of a, no, I'm good now. And then it's like, all right, now I'm going to eat. Here's another thing. Eat slowly. Because the 4th tenet is stop when you've had enough. But if we inhale our food, the leptin hormone doesn't have time to send the signal to the brain, so you had enough. Eat slowly. You will eat less. I can almost guarantee it. And be satiated. Cynthia, I'm back and can see and hear you. Yay. Carnivore K, good morning. And Karen in Utah, haha, pull over and order DoorDash. Yeah. That's woo. The sound of one man laughing. Again, I love these handles. Hello, Casey. Nice to catch you live. Thank you. And La Chacota Carver. Chacota. I'm 3 days in to a 4-day. Okay, you do what you want to do. I am not down with that, but if it works for you. Jell's mommy. That quote was from the movie Great Outdoors. He had to finish the gristle. Gotcha. Thank you. Mary Lou Bergeron. It's so true. I eat breakfast and don't even remember to eat lunch and some days dinner. Keto is truly the best way to eat. Friends of mine doing Ozempic, but all I need to do is follow the protocol. I have thoughts about that. People need to do what works for them. But Ozempic doesn't do anything different than laying off the carbs. The results are the same. Your hunger is suppressed, your A1C will come down, your blood glucose will come down, you'll lose some weight, and you don't have to stick yourself. But, I'm not throwing shade, no judgment. Did I leave off? Oh, thank y'all who buy my green book. You can see it at my blog in the sidebar. Take you to Amazon. It's Go Keto with Casey's 12-month record book, a journal, log, your diary of change, and a message from me on the back. And it's got a bunch of doodles and sticker pages and habit tracker and mood tracker and quotes and, from great philosophers and inventors and wonderful figures and Confucius, and also from from Yoda. Do or do not. There is no try. So, yeah, we can do this. If I can do this, you can do this. Jacqueline Hitchin, good afternoon, Casey from UK. Hello, hello. Is anyone, if you want to share, do. If you don't, don't. Is anyone struggling actually with stopping habitual eating? Because it's a thing. Eating out of habit. It's been drilled into us, right? 3 meals a day or else your metabolism is going to, crap out. That's crazy. If you have to eat every 2 or 3 hours to keep your metabolism up, why don't we just eat every 15 minutes and then our metabolism will be on fire and we'll all be see-through? Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. No, it depends on what, So this is actual lifetime of eating from our earliest days. And it is a difficult habit to break. Plus, food could be delicious. And we attach a lot of things to food. Love. No, food is not love. Love is love. Entertainment. Food should not be entertainment. Food should not be a sport. Food should not be your best friend. Okay? We hear that. Food has always been my friend. It's always been there for me. It's an inanimate object. It can't be there for you. And if hunger is not the problem, food is not the solution. And OMG, Karen from Utah, $5 super chat, just reloaded the Volek Finney book on my Kindle. Super chat work. Thank you. And I highly recommend The Art and Science of Low Carbohydrate Living. And then there's a follow-up volume, The Art and Science of Low Carbohydrate Performance, also by Finney and Volek. Jeff Volek is an exercise researcher, and it's fascinating. The whole carb loading thing, another thing that was not, it's very interesting. But that book is my go-to book. I've got little Post-it tabs and dog-eared pages and things underlined when I have to remember saying, what about uric acid? I need to know about uric acid because somebody will ask me. So I've read the whole book, but I need to go back. Highly recommend. And if you go to my blog under the resources, and it's an affiliate link, but won't cost you any extra. My iPad died. Back with you on iPhone. Well, thank you for hanging in, Susie. Cynthia, if so, would you share? Oh, wait a minute. Do you track your labs? So I have an annual physical, sometimes every year and a half. One time I went 2 years after starting keto. So those labs are done, and I can see them on, my chart, and everything is perfect. I mean, honestly, and I was on the road to type 2 diabetes and insulin Let me tell you what, if I didn't want to take insulin for type 2 diabetes, I certainly don't want to take Ozempic when I can just lay off the carbs. Actually, laying off the carbs fixed both of those problems. So my A1C, something like 4.6, triglycerides like 54, and HDL 117 or 121 or something like that. So yes, I do. Now, once a week, I test my glucose and ketone level. It's more of an experiment. I really don't need to. I've not been out of ketosis since I was in ketosis. And you don't need to test. But I do it every Monday, and I have this giant spreadsheet and I track it. So over the time since I've been doing this, my average glucose is 72, and my average ketones tested by blood, I use the Keto Mojo. Again, if you go to my blog, you'll see it in the sidebar. I just like the device. I used to use a different one. I like this one better. Average ketones, beta hydroxybutyrate, 2.3, 2.5, something like that. If so, would you share them? Just in ask. You don't have to, especially the timeline it took to come down to normal. Well, almost immediately my weight was adjusted. So I had seen my doctor for my annual about 3 or 4 months after I'd started this. It was just scheduled. So I'd lost about 20 pounds or 25 pounds. And my annual the year before in the medical chart said Casey continues to struggle with her weight. Correct. Right. I continue to recommend a low-fat diet and more exercise. And then everything was borderline. It was either already bad or borderline bad. So this time we go in and she's, wow, you've lost weight. That's great. How did you do it? I said, by doing the exact opposite of what you told me to do. And to her credit, she said, oh. And then she saw I had the Gary Taubes book, Good Calories, Bad Calories, which took me like 9 months to get through. It's very dense. She looked at it, she said, oh, I wasn't holding it in my hand or anything. She just happened to see it on the table. Oh, you're doing the low carb thing. I said, I am. She said, that's great that you've lost weight. I'm just worried about your cholesterol. I said, I understand. It's not your fault. You were taught the wrong thing. Let's just do a full lipid panel. And you have to ask for those. That gives you, LDL particle sizes. They're at least 2. Oh, Layla 903, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Man, I'm going to have to make a behind the scenes video with the chickens. And I appreciate it. Thank you so much. So we pulled it, and triglyceride down, HDL up. I had my overall cholesterol number was a bit high, but she said, Casey, whatever you're doing, keep it up. Your cholesterol is a little high, but that's because your HDL is so high. And you have very few of the tiny sticky LDLs, like very few. So that's been her mantra ever since. Keep doing what you're doing. So, Mary Lou Bergeron, I was struggling in beginning with eating every meal, but I realized if I kept super busy, I'd do better. I just got my tush off the couch and cleaned my house, take a walk, anything to keep my mind off food. That is an excellent, that's a win-win. Plus, one of these times you're going to realize I just don't even care about eating. Right now, I don't care about eating. Unbelievable. I'll eat. I'll enjoy the food. I'm done with it. As a rule, I do not partake in evening meals. I'm happy to prepare them for my husband, or he's happy to prepare them for me. He's a better cook than I am. I've just lost. And this is something that has changed over the last year or so. So as I continue to require less fuel, and I eat less fuel. Jacqueline Hitchin, do you weigh every day? I do. I do. I've been weighing pretty much every day since December 18th, 2000, when I was at my heaviest. That was bad. And I weighed at the doctor scale that they had in the locker room at the ladies' locker room at the YMCA. And it was terrible. I had to keep pushing, the little, whatever they're called, the little weights. I had to keep pushing this way to get to the next bar, right? Oh, depressing. So pretty much every day since then. When we travel, I don't weigh. I've had a few surgeries, and I was laid up for quite a while. So I didn't weigh then. mean, I had other things in my mind. But since I've started keto, other than travel, I really have weighed every day. I think there was one time, patrons might be able to refresh my memory, where I said, I want to just not weigh for a couple of weeks. No, I really prefer weighing every day. And the weight fluctuates. Even if I ate the exact same food every day, which I almost do. If you go to my blog, I started over the last several posts putting a little chart, and it's just daily weight fluctuations. It's just up this amount, down that amount, up that amount, down that amount. Doesn't fluctuate much. But I do that to illustrate for other people who, some people, their day is made or ruined by the number on the scale. Mine used to be like that too. The scale is going to fluctuate. You can do everything perfectly, adverb and an ly. And it can go up 0.8 pounds. Then you can do the exact same thing for 3 days in a row. It'll go down 0.9 pounds. Weight fluctuates. We kind of know when we've eaten more than we need. We might want to lie to ourselves about it. As Dr. Now's book is titled, "The Scale Does Not Lie. People Do." Love Dr. Now. Tough, man. He's tough. It's pronounced Layla. Lala. Thank you. Okay, thank you. I do want to pronounce people's names correctly. Lala 903. Thank you for that. Barbara, I've taken up crocheting and knitting again, and that does help. Keeps my hands and mind busy. I can't crochet. I've tried. I can knit. I've knit a bunch of stuff. I can't make my one hand do that. Thank you, writes Cynthia. Thank you. Yes, good for your doctor. And she's my husband's doctor too, and she says the same thing. Cynthia, your ketones are still pretty high. What are your thoughts on ketones go lower as you use them better? I don't think that's a thing. There's a lot of information out there that just don't even make any sense. I can't use my ketones better. My body uses what it uses. I've been in ketosis for 11 years. And some people say, oh, it's too high. You're spilling ketones. What? Spilling ketones. It's just ketones are just a byproduct of burning fat for fuel, right? So there is as much as there is. You don't have to test the blood. You can test with the urine strips. That's measuring acetoacetate, which is a byproduct of burning fat for fuel. You can measure beta hydroxybutyrate, which is in the blood, which is a byproduct of burning fat for fuel. And you can measure acetone, which is a byproduct of burning fat for fuel. That's a breath. And the gold standard is really blood. It's like a fire, right? You can have the fire, and there are byproducts of having a campfire. There's heat, there's smoke, and there's ash. And there are probably a whole bunch of other things. But you don't say, oh, wow, you are giving off too much heat, fire. You just step away a little bit if it's too warm. By the way, also body chemistry. That happens to be my body chemistry. I had a ketone reading in front of Dr. Westman, by the way, because there was a thing. It was at the last traditional in-person Durham Sport Group meeting. They were starting a research project, so they had volunteers to have their glucose and ketones tested. And his nurse was making the test, and I went back there, and my glucose was whatever it was, 78. My ketones were 7.0. And Dr. Westman said, that's not right. That's the glucose. And his nurse said, no, it's 7.0. So, okay. So that's my body chemistry. My husband's body chemistry, we eat essentially the same food. He eats more than I do, and he has some things that I don't eat as much or at all. And his body chemistry, and he's in ketosis, might measure 0.9. 1.1 is a red letter day for him. So body chemistry has a lot to do with it. Lala 903. I love weighing every day. I learn how my body reacts to inflammation, etc. I like data. So someone sent me a meme, one of my patrons. It was just a picture, and it was a mug that said, this calls for a spreadsheet. Barbara, I had a doctor tell me, quote, most people on keto gain their weight back end quote. Horrible thing to tell someone instead of keep it up. Good job. You need atta girls to maintain. Absolutely. Would that doctor also say, most people who give up cigarettes go back to smoking? What? Shut up, doctor. Doofus. Cynthia, okay, yes, a lot of misinformation. Mine are low to 2.2, mostly carnivore, just trying to figure out what that means. Maybe too much meat. I don't know. No, protein does not turn into glucose unless you are just way overeating protein, like a lot, like the 96 ouncer in Great Outdoors. Just be careful of hidden carbs. Make sure it's total carbs, not net carbs. Don't buy keto products because they're always high in carbs. They tout either their grams of protein or their grams of net carbs on the front of the package. You flip it over. Oh, they say net, net 2 carbs. And on the back, it's 17 carbs per serving. So be careful. Hidden sugars and things like sauces, or just keep with it. Cynthia, 6.5 months keto/carnivore, no cheating, just wondering. And Mary Jane Thomas, do you offer a coaching service? I do, Mary Jane, and I think you're new here. I do. If you go to my Patreon, the link below, I'll have to put the link below. Just Google Casey Durango, CASEYDURANGO. I have a Patreon, and depending on your pledge, you get a one-on-one with me, but you don't have to commit to anything. You do it for one time. You can just do I just want a coaching one time. And it's on, some people prefer telephone, some people prefer video. So I do what you want. And it's an hour or 50 minutes a month. So yes, I do. So thank you for asking. And with that, and because of the delay in getting started, again, thank you guys for hanging in there with me. Any questions? Any you are always welcome to ask me anything, and I will respond. I just may not answer. There are a couple of things I don't share, but mostly I share stuff, and I might overshare. You'd have to ask people around me. All right, so reminder, Green Book. I'll post my merch. It's under my other videos as well, my other live streams. The merch you can see below there. It's on Spreadshot, and I'll put the link below, and patreon.com/Go Keto with Casey. All right, friends, thank you. Stay warm, stay dry. Jack was very quiet. See, I'm in reverse. Jack was very quiet today. You can barely see that he's in his cushion. And Cynthia writes, thank you. And good luck, Cynthia. Just stick with it. And that might just be your body chemistry. Maybe instead of testing with blood, try the urine strips. Anything above neutral, you're burning fat for fuel. The strips have like 6 different colors, one of them being neutral, which is just like realtor beige. Anything above that, different than that, you're burning fat for fuel. All right. Thank you, Judy Tucker. And thank you, the sound of one man laughing. Appreciate it. Appreciate you all. And I will see you next time. God willing, the creek don't rise. And hopefully my tech gremlins will not accompany me next time. See ya.